When we reflect back on life's journey, we notice how decisions made and paths chosen have woven together the stories of our lives. Those turning points that define us and reveal who we truly are. When a woman hits rock bottom, how and where does she find the strength to turn it all around? And what decisions does she take with her life ahead of her, beckoning? Acclaimed South African writer, poet and social commentator Sindiwe Magona is one of these women.
Morning!
Wow, morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm very good.
Yes?
I love the way you do these leg lifts.
Hey, you try.
You can attract all sorts of people doing that in the
Well,
morning.
I hope they join me. God knew the African woman was going to have a very, very hard life. That is why He gave her skin as tough as Mother Earth herself. He gave her that tough, timeless skin so that her woes would not be written all over her face, so that her face would not be a map to her torn and tattered heart.
So when you sit down and write, what happens? What's the experience for you?
I'm transported, which is why I like writing when everybody is asleep. I know that theoretically not everybody is asleep, but if I write around about 1, 2 a.m., I can pretend I'm a goddess and I'm creating while mere mortals sleep. When you write, you forget who you are and you enter into the story and you just fly.
Sindiwe grew up in the Eastern Cape, and the family then moved to retreat in Cape Town. They had very little, but Sindiwe ran free.
It was a sprawling tin shack location, but we were happy in our shacks. There were the hills and the flays, and we swam and we climbed and we ate bosses and things like that. I had a fantastic childhood, a happy childhood.
Sindiwe crossed paths with another youngster, Sindiwe Magona, who became a treasured lifelong friend.
Friends for how many years?
1947.
57, 56, 60, 70, 80,
1947, 50 years. So we're more sisters and friends. She was very naughty at school. She was very naughty. Naughty, not in a bad way, you know. She used to tease people and they used to chase Sindiwe. She was very good at running.
And then the forced removals came, and Sindiwe's family was not spared. It shattered homes and lives.
That was a scarring episode in my life because as a child, you think your parents, especially your father, is strong. And to see your father, a man, treated like nothing, just told, go. I suppose I always knew as black people we didn't have power, but that is the moment at which for me it crystallized that my father was powerless, totally powerless.
So when you were 16 or 17, after being forcibly removed, you came here to Googs.
This is my family home, where we, the children, mom and dad lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. And later on, even after I was married, because we couldn't qualify for a house, we never lived together as husband and wife. I continued to live at my mother's. See.
It's wonderful that it's still in the family after all the years.
We are lucky that way.
All the history.
Hello.
Hello, I'm Lisa.
Rosemary.
Great pleasure.
Yeah?
I can see Mom and Dad on the wall.
Yes, that's them. The sense of belongingness is the one thing I got from my family. That family is always there for you.
Rosemary, are you Mom?
I had no idea I was having a tough life. I only discovered my poverty in retrospect when I became a grown-up and started working as a teacher and saw how much I was not earning and realized how much my father never earned. And I became very ashamed of the demands I had made on them, unthinkingly, unknowingly.
My mother was everything to us because we spent the most of our lives with my mother. My father passed away when I was only in a higher primary, in Vianney Higher Primary School. The minute my father passed away, Sindiwe changed and became our father too.
Bye-bye, sweetie. Yes, okay, thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye. I was working as a teacher, not married. Then I got pregnant. I was fired because those days, if you were unmarried and you got pregnant, as a woman, you got fired. The father of my first child, his child wasn't even a year old before he was into another relationship. And once I discovered that, for me, that was it. Then I fell in love with somebody else. Again, this time, we got married without the blessings of my parents, of course. For 4 years, I worked as a domestic worker. It was humiliating. It was unfair. And I felt it. And when you have no money and you have 2 children and you start finding that you are expecting your 3rd child, life becomes miserable. And my husband was a migrant worker. And one day, he tells me he needs to go see his parents in the Eastern Cape, Matadia. And the date he leaves is the 26th of June. And he says he'll be back on the 16th of July. And years later, when I would tell the story, I would add, he never said the same year. I assumed that. That was the end. I never saw him again. When he left, I also lost the job. As a grown-up in my early 20s, I descended into destitution.